You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the Giants get back to Oracle and get back in the win column as they literally walk off the Chicago Cubs in the bottom of the ninth after Wilmer Flores draws a bases-loaded walk. Forever Giant. Drew Smiley gave it up. Final score 5-4. Giants win. Finally, again, thank God. After falling behind 4-0, the Giants scored 5 unanswered runs, including 3 in the ninth. They struggled all day long to get runners on base against Steele, but 6 Giants reached base safely in that big inning, and we gotta give some love to the Cal Poly kids. Spencer Howard really settled the bullpen down and picked up 8 strikeouts on his way to 4 2/3 scoreless innings and another win. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. Make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspeck does a great job. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. This one started out rough. We've been saying this a lot lately for the Giants. Another bullpen game. Eric Miller, the opener. I mean, let's bring back Brebbia in his walk-up song. I'm just the opener. That's all Eric Miller's been doing lately for the Giants. And I mean, it's tough when you have 3 rotation spots open right now. I mean, it's Logan Webb, Jordan Hicks, and then who knows after that for the Giants right now. Tonight's game was Eric Miller's 7th time opening a game this year. He's done pretty well in these instances. Coming into today, he had a 1.35 ERA in those previous 6 starts, and the Giants 3-3 as a team in such games. Now 4-3 after that comeback win. It didn't look like that was going to be how it goes. It was an up and down day for the Giants pen as a whole. Burgess makes his MLB debut, Raymond Burgess, and he had his contract selected from AAA earlier today. He made his major league debut, was 2-0 with a 1.64 ERA and 23 strikeouts in 9 games with Sacramento, threw 2 or more innings in all of these games. So he's a bulk guy. He's a long relief pitcher, something that the Giants could really use, just any guy to eat innings, although they could really use another starter instead of just a guy who can come in and eat some innings in a bullpen game. Seems like the Giants are just kind of shifting towards just running with bullpen games for now. I mean, I don't really know what else you can do. They might have found something with Spencer Howard, though. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. As for Burgess, he signed a minor league deal, with the Giants back in April, and it was his 2nd time actually in the Giants organization. He had previously been with the Giants in December after signing a contract in December of 2022, and came into Giants camp last spring. Went up and down between AA and AAA, never cracked the big league squad. He was drafted by the Cleveland Guardians back in 2016 in the 18th round. And it didn't go great for Burgess today. He puts the first 3 batters that he faced on base. Michael Busch single scored the first run of the game, gave the Cubs a 1-0 lead, and that was it for Burgess in his lackluster MLB debut. But we're not going to go and dump on the kid for just giving up 1 run. But you know who we are going to dump on right now is Luke Blanken Jackson, because Luke is just terrible right now, man. Like, Luke is just all out of sorts. I mean, if we're going Star Wars references, everybody right now is Luke's father out there on the diamond, because this guy can't get anybody out. He's getting sunned out there left and right. He faced 6 batters today, only got 1 out, 3 runs, 3 hits, 2 walks. Get this guy out of my bullpen. God, this is so frustrating to watch Luke Jackson come in Every single time this guy comes in the game, seems like he's given up at least one run, multiple free passes. You cannot win games giving up free 90s like this guy does. He's giving them out like it's Halloween candy on October 31st. I mean, just everybody gets one, apparently, for Luke Jackson. Cubs took a 4-0 lead by the time that he was out of the game. And the way this Giants offense has been going, that felt like a lot for the Giants to come back from. And Luke, I mean, I know that you're so limited in arms right now that there's nothing you can really do. Luke Jackson, not a guy that they can just send up and down between the minor leagues. They signed this guy, paid him a lot of money to come in here and be a high leverage arm, and he has been anything but since the time that he got here in San Francisco. Yes, he's battled a lot of injuries. This year, he's just been playing bad, and I don't want to see this guy out there in any other situations. I know he was like the third or fourth arm out of the pen today in a bullpen game that you were already trailing. So, I mean, if you're going to throw the guy, this is the time to throw him. But, oh, my God, man, it is so frustrating watching this guy get out there on the hill and just issue walk after walk, meatball after meatball, serving him up like he works at Subway, man. I mean, this guy is just terrible right now. I don't know how you can keep throwing this guy. I mean, obviously, you don't want to DFA a guy that you're paying this much money unless it just gets completely off the rails. This guy has been so bad. I don't know if it's quite at that point yet, but I feel like he's just got to be a purely emergency, like, oh no, we have no other arm to throw pitcher. He needs to be the very last guy out of the pen right now. I do not want to see any more Luke Jackson appearances for a while. Like, he needs to pitch once a week max. Anyways, Luke is chased from the game. Only gets one out in that inning. He pitches in the top of the fifth. Spencer Howard, the Cal Poly kid, comes in, and he didn't really pitch great in his last outing. He's been fell out of favor with this Giants bullpen. He was getting a lot of work in games just like this, and a lot of bulk inning work. After Eric Miller would start, he would usually be the second guy out, and the Giants would rely on him for a couple innings of work. But he comes in immediately, back-to-back strikeouts to get out of the inning, get out of the jam. Does Luke Jackson a favor and keeps his ERA from ballooning even higher because it is 6.46. Again, Luke Jackson's ERA 6.46. If Spencer Howard had allowed some of those inherited base runners to score, it would have been even higher. But he does his job, strikes out 2 as he first comes in, back-to-back Ks to end that inning. Then in the bottom of the 5th, Matt Chapman launches a solo shot to left field, his 9th of the season, 111 miles an hour off the bat. Matt Chapman just constantly hitting rockets out there, 410 feet. Giants still down, though, 4-1. It was a solo shot. Giants really struggled to get base runners against Justin Steele. They've been really facing a lot of quality starting pitching lately. Steele today, Sonny Gray yesterday, who carried a perfect game into the 7th inning. So the Giants got to figure out a way to start hitting some of these starters earlier, although they have been facing a lot of high quality pitching as of late. So they I mean, no excuses. You can't just, prior to that hit, the Giants had only one base runner, one hit up until the bottom of the 5th when Chapman launched that home run. So you've got to find a way to start getting guys on base. You need rallies so that when guys eventually do run into one, you can do some more damage other than just one run at a time, slowly trying to piece your way back into games. But in the top of the 6th inning, Spencer Howard goes back out there, and he pitched the rest of this game after that point. A great outing by Spenny. He pitched around a leadoff triple that he gave up to Crow Armstrong, who, by the way, that guy just flies around the bases, man. Like, that was a pretty well played ball out there in Triple's alley, and dude came into third standing up, didn't even need a slide, and he probably could have pulled up there at the end too, didn't need to sprint the whole way. That guy just moves so quick, man. It reminds me of Jung-Hoo Lee running around them bases. I would really like to see him on this team right now in the mix with everybody else. See how much better this offense could be, how much different that could make this squad. But alas, he's gone for the rest of the season. So Giants got to look elsewhere. And today, Nick Ahmed helped out as well. I mean, we haven't seen very much or any pop from Nick Ahmed this season at all, but he launches a solo home run here in the bottom of the 6th, his first of the season, 104.2 miles an hour off the bat, 385 feet to left field, and it brought the Giants within 2 runs, 4-2. Then in the top of the 7th, on a day that honored Willie Mays, we should have said this earlier, the Giants honored Willie Mays pregame, lots of ceremony. Obviously, the first home game at Oracle Park since Willie Mays passed away. And Ramos makes in the top of the seventh, pays homage to Willie Mays by making an over-the-shoulder Willie Mays-esque basket catch kind of deal. Well, I'm not going to, nobody's Willie Mays. Nobody's recreating that Polo Grounds catch that he made, or in the World Series. No one's ever doing that again. But Ramos did the best that he could to try and recreate that. Makes a nice over-the-shoulder grab in center, running back towards the wall, paying respects to the great number 24. And by the way, every single Giant paying their respects to the great number 24 today. They all wore Willie Mays' number out there on the field. Nobody has donned that number in a San Francisco Giants uniform in quite some time, aside from the Say Hey Kid. And so that was a great sight to see. Behind home plate, they had a big picture of Willie mid swing, and it was just vibes all over the yard. I mean, the flower pile out in front of the Willie Howard Mays Jr. statue at Third and King, that you got to swim through, wade through the flowers to get to the bronze statue. At this point, there's just an outpouring of love and affection for the forever Giant, the Say Hey Kid, out here in San Francisco. It is astounding to see. It's remarkable and definitely not unexpected, though. I mean, Willie Mays is one of the greatest impacts of any athlete that they've had on their culture as a whole, on the entire Americana of our country. That's who Willie Mays was. That's who he'll be remembered as, is someone that impacted this place a lot more, this world a lot more than just as a baseball player. And the Giants paid respects to him today, gave some pregame comments from the broadcasters and stuff. Mike Krukow, Dave Fleming had a lot of great things to say down there on the field. But we still had to finish this game. Ramos, after he makes that great play in center field in the bottom of the eighth, comes up and doubles, puts runners at second and third with one out. Giants still down 2. Chases Justin Steele from the game, which was really important, man, because he was just working the Giants out there. Wilmer Flores, however, strikes out, and Soler comes up with another opportunity in a situation like this, which has just been an adventure all season, pops out and ends the threat. A wasted opportunity for the Giants. I kind of thought they were dead in the water after that, but in the ninth inning, Spenny comes out and strikes out the side, man, finishes with 8 total strikeouts. And as I said, that's a big confidence boost for a guy who fell out of favor the last time that the Giants played the Cubs. His last game, his last outing was on the 19th of this month, about 5 days ago, against the Cubs when they were on the road in Wrigley Field. 1 inning pitched, give up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, or 2 earned runs, 3 total runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 33 pitches to get through that 1 inning. And it was a rough one for Spencer Howard. It was not a great time out there in Chicago. He'd been a little up and down prior to that. And so this is great for him to get back on the horse. Of course, the Mustang, the Cal Poly kid, is going to get back on the horse, as almost everybody who's ever got a Cal Poly does in their respective professions. Matt Chapman then comes up in the bottom of the ninth. That's where all the fun was for the Giants. A double after Crow Armstrong tries to make a diving play. Could have been a hell of a play and completely changed the outcome of this game, but he can't make the play, and Chapman legs out a double on the shallow pop fly to center. Then Thairo Estrada lays down an absolutely perfect bunt single down the third baseline. I think he was just trying to move the runner over, but perfect bunt, gets on base. The pitcher almost made a play on it, but gives the Giants first and third with nobody out, tying runs on base. Michael Conforto comes in to pinch hit for Matos, launches a sac fly to score Chapman. 4-3, Cubs lead at that point. Drew Smiley, forever Giant Drew Smiley, comes in, gives up a single to Pat Bailey, who was pinch hitting for Kurt Casale. Nick Ahmed draws a walk on a lot of close pitches. That was a very gritty at bat by Nick Ahmed. Very important at bat for the Giants in this rally. Austin Slater comes up next. Sac fly scores Thairo Estrada for the game tying run. And at that point, Smiley just looked rattled up there, man. And Wilmer Flores, who has been really bad all game long and for most of this season, he was the guy who came up last for the Giants after they intentionally walked Elliot Ramos. They didn't want any of that smoke. They put that rookie on, or not rookie, lost his rookie eligibility, but we forget he's not a rookie with how much time he spent down there in AAA, but nonetheless, they avoid Ramos's hot bat. He had 3 hits tonight, got back in the good graces of Giants fans with, I don't think he ever really fell out, but had a nice game today after struggling on the road. But Wilmer Flores, who had been 0 for 4 today so far, gets up there and draws a 2-out walk and plates the winning run. Drew Smiley issues the walk. Forever Giant, still helping the Giants win games, even though he's wearing a Chicago Cubs uniform. Giants win 5-4 on a day when they really needed to win, man. They needed to stop this 5-game losing streak. They needed to get a win in Oracle Park in the return home, and they needed to get a win on the day where we paid respects to number 24, Willie Mays. We got to take a quick break, but tons more to get into from this game. The Spencer Howard, I think, has shown more than enough to earn another start. The Giants needed some help with this burdened bullpen, and he could give some answers, as well as the late life in this game for the Giants. And we'll go over a little bit more of the Willie Mays tribute in this one. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down in the NBA, the NHL, we get fewer games. But as the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to, but we still got MLB baseball, Giants baseball, and all the bets on FanDuel. FanDuel lets me keep all the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And with the Olympics coming around the corner, you know I can dream up some bets with the Olympics. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone all day, every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And today's episode is also brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections for a chance to win 100 times your money. Baseball season is officially underway. There's no better way to cash in on the action than PrizePicks. Add your favorite players from the diamond to your PrizePicks lineups all season long, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks lineups today. You can now win up to 100 times your money with baseball-only lineups on PrizePicks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring 4 demon squares, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's early season. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to 100 big ones. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and a ton to break down from this 5-4 Giants win over the Cubs. With the win, the Giants are now 37-42, and the Cubs are 37-42. Some nice symmetry there, but the Giants hoping to be a lot better than that by the time that we get around to the All-Star break. I mean, the never-ending climb back to 500 continues for this team that has just been very average all season long, has been unable to put everything together, has been marred with injuries. But there's one guy right now who seems like he can really help the Giants. I mean, there's a lot of different options the Giants have that they can go with to fill in these voids caused by all these injuries to their pitching staff. As I said, a lot of options. None of them seem to be very good options, but the best one available right now, I mean, do you rush up a Hayden Birdsong? Do you rush Carson Whisenhunt, force them into early big league debuts? I mean, we've talked many times about how that's really not a good situation. Shout out Tyler Beede. If you guys remember his Giants career, that never really took off, but always had great stuff. But the Giants just completely destroyed that kid's mental. And that's what happens sometimes when you rush these prospects up. But the one guy who looks ready right now is Spencer Howard. And that just, I mean, I think you guys already know that warms my heart seeing the Cal Poly kid out there. He's one of the first guys. I feel such a connection with this kid. He's the first guy I ever really interviewed as a reporter in college for the Cal Poly student newspaper, the Mustang News. And I just followed this kid's career, like our paths, like as I started covering more games in Cal Poly sports, Spencer started to get more and more starts and started to be more and more effective down there in college. Then we both end up in the same big market in out here in the world, in the professional world, and he's doing big things. I'm, we can pretend that I'm doing big things too here on the Locked On Giants postcast. But Spenny, man, he had 8 strikeouts today. The kid looked great. He had a couple rough outings prior to this. His last one, he got roughed up against the Cubs. But today, 4 2/3 innings pitched. He gave up 4 hits, only 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. That ERA down to 3.8 on the season. No runs. No runs, the biggest stat of the night for Spencer Howard. Those 8 strikeouts, man, were awesome. He had the fastball really working today. 5 of those strikeouts coming on the 4-seamer. That slider also very, very, very efficient today. His whiff rate on that slider was 43%, or 53%, excuse me. He really worked it. 8 swings and misses on 15 sliders. He also generated 7 swings and misses on 21 4-seam fastballs. So between those 2 pitches, he was really moving out there. And that changeup also working for him today. He didn't throw it a ton, but generated a couple swings and miss on that one as well. Overall, he had a 39% whiff rate today. That's very good for Spencer Howard. He's a guy who doesn't have a ton of movement on his pitches, but it is late movement. It is sharp movement. That curveball that he doesn't really use too much is probably his best breaking pitch. That has not the best breaking pitch, but has the most break of any pitch that he has. But he doesn't really need it. He did it a lot today with location. That fastball seemed to just fly out of his hand. I mean, lives around like 94 miles an hour with that 4-seamer. It's not the fastest fastball in the world, but he really located well today, and in that late life on it really had hitters off balance today for the Cubs. I mean, Spenny pitched great today. Not didn't have the location issues that we saw in his last couple outings. Didn't serve up too many meatballs like his counterpart Luke Jackson, or not counterpart, but teammate Luke Jackson, who just seems to be taking up a part-time job at Subway serving up meatball subs. But Spencer Howard, man, not working at Subway, not serving up meatball subs, just strikeout after strikeout for the Chicago Cubs at the hands of Spencer Howard, the Cal Poly kid. And I really like this kid. I think he provides the bullpen. Who else are you going to throw out there, man? I mean, really, what are you going to do at this point in the season when you have so many limited options? I mean, Howard was a really efficient guy for the Giants on the mound today in a night where they had nothing else. He tossed 77 pitches on the mound today, 54 for strikes. He was filling up the zone. I want to see this guy back in the rotation at least until the Giants have better options. I mean, what are we going to do? Bullpen game every 3 days? At least if you're having Spencer Howard, I mean, coming out there as a traditional starter. I don't want to see him used, which it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they did this, but I don't really want to see him used as a bullpen guy, like as a long relief guy in a bullpen game, as the guy who comes in after Eric Miller in the second inning and pitches 4 or 5 innings of relief. I want to see this guy get a chance as a traditional starter. That's what he can do. That's what he can be. He was a former top 100 prospect for the Phillies in all of Major League Baseball. This guy projects as a starter, and that's what he can really do for this team, help out the Giants in their time of need. And really what it comes down to is, who else do you have? What else are you going to do? What better option do you have? I mean, at least if Spencer Howard doesn't work out as long-term as a starter, you don't completely destroy the mental set of one of your top prospects in a Carson Whisenhunt or a Hayden Birdsong or a Landon Roop if you choose to go that direction when he comes back from injury. I think Spencer Howard really provides the Giants with at least one more option as a starting pitcher, and 2 bullpen games a week doesn't sound great, but it sounds a lot better than 3 bullpen games a week. I'll tell you what, man, nothing makes me more upset than having to turn on my TV and watch a damn bullpen game and just watching a parade of starters of like 5-6 different guys pitching in one game. It is just not very fun, man. Like, you look over at what the Cubs did today. Justin Steele, 7 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts. Like, that is what Giants fans want to see from their starting pitchers, not what we've been seeing, which is a lot of sub 5 inning outings and a lot of bullpen work. The Giants, the number 2 most used bullpen in all of baseball, might actually be number 1 now after this bullpen game today. They've been going back and forth with the Brewers, trading that very esteemed title of most used bullpen in all of Major League Baseball. Not a good position to be in, man. Not a good position to be in. The Giants need starting pitchers. They need innings eaters. And right now, Spencer Howard can eat some innings for you. He's not, maybe he'll do a Jameis Winston. He'll eat a couple W's for you, if you know what I mean. And that would be great because the Giants really need to start eating some damn W's. They're 37-42 on the season. They got to start piecing some wins back together. It's a big missed opportunity in the middle of this month where they faced a lot of sub 500 teams. The Giants, though, they have one more chance. This is the last series against a sub 500 team prior to facing the Dodgers this weekend. And we get the Mickey Mouse ears giveaway. That'll be a very interesting weekend. The Beat LA Aloha shirt too. I back the Beat LA Aloha shirt. That thing's cool. But nonetheless, Giants 5-4 win today against the Cubs. They'll do it 3 more times against the Cubbies this week before the Dodgers come to town. So 3 more opportunities to beat up on a sub 500 team. If the Giants can sweep the Cubs, they'll be 40-42 by the time the Dodgers come to town, which would be really nice. We got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast, but on the other side, more to break down from this game. The Giants offense showing late life, and Elliot Ramos getting back at it in the box. We'll explain on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. I love that. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. And the Giants today walk off the Cubs, a 5-4 win. Wilmer Flores drawing the bases loaded walk to literally walk off the Chicago Cubs. Drew Smiley, forever Giant, still helping the Giants win games out there in a Chicago Cubs uniform. But today, so much going on at the yard with honoring Willie Mays' first home game since he passed away. As we said, the pregame moment of silence, big picture of Willie Mays mid-swing right behind home plate. Every Giant out there wearing number 24. Elliot Ramos making the over-the-shoulder basket catch out there in center field wearing the number 24. It chokes me up, man, thinking about it. Multiple speakers on the field before the game. They did a nice little ceremony. They will do a bigger public ceremony for Willie Mays that's more of like a celebration of life at some point. The Giants will announce details about this. But Mike Krukow, I think, summed it up great. And in the words of Mike Krukow, talking about Willie Mays, he was our guy. This is a quote directly. Quote, "He was our guy. We lost our champion, but he'll always be with us forever." And that nothing could be more true. Legends never die. And that's so true with Willie Mays. Bob Melvin also called for Major League Baseball to retire the number 24 across all franchises. And I think we got to do it, man. Like nobody else. Who else impacts the game like this? Like, can you think of another player who, when their time comes and they pass away, that all of Major League Baseball will stop and honor it? Where is what other player is going to be honored by every single Major League Baseball team at some point? Like, I feel like every single team took a moment of silence, a pause at some point within this last week to honor Willie Mays and his contributions. And I can't think of a single other living legend like that we're going to have in Major League Baseball, with the impacts that he had on culture, on our country as a whole. I think that is that would be a great move by Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, we have a commissioner that has the intelligence of a rock, and so I'm not sure if Rob Manfred will be able to rub his two brain cells together good enough to actually come up with something like this and execute a great idea like this. But we'll see. I would really, really hope that someone around him encourages him to do it, because we all know he's not doing it his damn self. But today, the Giants, as I said, 5-4 comeback walk-off win. They scored 3 runs in the 9th, 5 runs unanswered to come back. And this was a really great night for Elliot Ramos. He wasn't really in the mix of any of the big hits today or anything like that, but he did keep the line moving. I made that great play in center field, and he picked up 3 hits tonight, which, let me tell you, it's just as many hits as he had on the entire last road trip. He was just 3 for 27. We've been talking so much about how the kid has been excellent for the Giants. Hopefully he'll be the Giants All-Star here in a couple weeks, representing the team out there in the All-Star game for the National League. But he really did start to slump on that road trip. He did have a couple home runs. 2 of those 3 hits were home runs, and he had a bunch of RBIs as well. But just 3 for 27 isn't what we've come to expect from the kid who's batting up around 300. So the 3 hits today gets him back on the right track, and it gets him rolling again. And it's something that we've talked about all season long. We're done waiting for him to revert back to what we've seen the last couple of years from him, or we're done waiting for him to, quote, regress to the mean. This kid is an all-star. That's who he is. He is a star in this game, and that's who we're expecting him to be. So instead of waiting for him to regress to the mean, we're waiting for him to get back to his multi-hit games. This 3 for 27 thing isn't gonna last. He's gonna go back up there. He's gonna keep raking. So that's going to be a good thing for the Giants going forward. And they need all the help they can get, man. And with the win, they avoid tying the season high or season low, I guess, for most consecutive losses. If they had lost this one, they would have stretched that losing streak to 6, which very well looked like the Giants were going to lose this game, and that would have been tied with the worst losing streak for the season for the Giants. Would not have been a very good situation. Instead, the Giants get back to Oracle Park, get back in the win column. And one more thing before we check out here, the Giants have a couple players on their way back. They had 3 different guys make rehabs back in Sacramento yesterday. Blake Snell lasted 1 2/3 innings through 51 pitches, 27 for strikes, gave up 2 runs and walked 3. So sounds like a lot that we've seen from Blake Snell so far this year. It's a rehab start. Can't glean too much from the stats in a rehab start. You never can, but you want to see him filling up the strike zone a little bit more than 51 pitches, 27 strikes. You also want to not see him walk a bunch of guys in AAA. So hopefully Blake Snell can get back out there and have another successful rehab start before coming up to the Giants. Robbie Ray also pitched in that same game. How about maybe we're going to get an effective Robbie Ray before we see an effective Blake Snell in a Giants uniform? How about that? That might be insane. He entered at the start of the 4th inning. He went 2 1/3 scoreless, gave up 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 2 in a 45 pitch effort. It was his 5th rehab appearance. His first was Sacramento. And then Lamont Wade Jr., another guy that the Giants really need back sometime soon, man. He played his first rehab game. He started as the DH, went 0 for 1 with 3 walks and 2 runs scored. If that isn't the most Lamont Wade Jr. line that I've ever seen, I don't know what is. Lamont Wade Jr., of course, not a pitcher, but if the Giants can even just get 2 arms back, if you get Robbie Ray back soon and you get a Blake Snell, even though you're rolling the dice on Blake Snell, you throw out, at least for the time being, Spencer Howard, Robbie Ray, Blake Snell, Jordan Hicks, Logan Webb, that'll work. That'll track. I mean, at least for now, you got like, I feel like you can have 3 to 4 successful starts going through that rotation. Blake Snell going to be a constant roll of the dice. I think he's got to be the guy at the back end of that when he comes back. So we'll see what the Giants do. Lots of things in the works for them. Also, Trenton Brooks DFA'd. A lot of you guys have been screaming for that for a while. Well, you got your wish. Trenton Brooks no longer on the Giants roster. We got to wrap up. We're over time, as we frequently are on the Locked On Giants postcast. Thanks so much for joining this time. This was a fun show, man. Fun game, fun show. I always love talking Spencer Howard. I love that dude. I love that he's wearing a Giants uniform. Love that I can root for him without having to root for the Phillies or the Rangers. So shout out Spencer Howard and his 8 strikeouts today. Really settled these, navigated these rough waters for the Giants like a stoic captain out there on the hill, just unfazed by all the rough waters around him, guiding his crew to the promised land for the Giants. It was a victory, a 5-4 comeback win against the Cubs out there at Oracle Park in a day where we honored the great Willie Mays. That's all the time we got for you guys today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Giants play tomorrow evening, 6:45 start against the Cubs out at Oracle Park. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. Peace.